What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. Today, Fat Man Zoom, we have a special pre-recorded video. We don't usually do this a whole lot, but we're trying to get back into it a little bit more. We got a special topic today that I think that you guys are really going to enjoy. Fat Man Zoom, what are we chatting about?
Yeah, I mean, I figure the way to kick it off is to talk about top stocks for October. So we're going to be getting into your top 5 stocks for October. But first, I want to talk about what to expect from the market, maybe some industries we're looking at. So guys, make sure you stick around for us to get into the top 5 stocks. September sell-off, we talked about it. It was a wild ride, ended strong into the month of September. What do you expect October to bring from the market?
I think October in particular, I mean, we saw a huge beatdown in the epicenter type stocks, and we even saw a pretty sharp correction in some of the FANG stocks. But most importantly, I think that what we didn't really see that much of a correction in was oil itself, but the oil stocks retreated a little bit. So I think that we're going to see oil stocks in particular, energy, really just kind of catch up to all of that. I mean, right now as we're recording, we're seeing oil at around $75 a barrel. I think, I mentioned in the summertime that we could see 100 by the end of the year. Certainly seems as if that might be possible to at least get us close to that. So I think that's going to be the big one. It's the big industry to watch. And we actually do have a stock in this list that I think could be worth owning because of that. So make sure you guys are sticking around, hitting that like button in anticipation of that particular stock to watch.
Okay, so that's from the industry perspective. What do you feel from just the overall market sentiment? Do you feel bullish about the market? How do you think it's going to be?
I think there's little reason to not be bullish.
Okay.
I mean, we have some bear cases. There could be some rockiness, especially with the debt ceiling and how Congress is really fighting with that a little bit. That could impact the markets. Obviously, we're seeing some stuff with China that may impact the markets too. But there's just so many tailwinds for the market overall in general that I think that there's just absolutely no reason, in my opinion, to feel bearish about the market in general.
Yeah, so let's get into these 5 stocks, and let me set it up for those viewers that are watching right now. A couple things to know about when we talk about these 5 stocks. One is these are 5 stocks that are going to be on Brad's watch list. These are not automatic buys. They're on watch. The other thing we look for anybody in the Chaos crew, they already know this, but one of the big things we're on is finding strong companies that are on discount. So maybe a little bit beaten down. Those are the best ones where we feel like they've been oversold, beaten down. We're looking for discounted opportunities. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoy these 5 stocks. Why don't you go ahead and give the like and thumbs up because we know you're going to like the top 5. Let's kick off number 1. What do we have for the first stock, Brad?
Yeah, so for the first one for me, and I kind of wanted to bring up 2 stocks before we get into this in anticipation of this first one. And the first one I wanted to show you guys was Costco. This isn't the stock to watch because this is the one that's already kind of moved. Look at the chart right here, and it's just made a monster move already because they had really great earnings, and it just took off. For me, though, the sympathy play or to go after one that hasn't quite moved yet is Walmart. We look at Target, and it hasn't really corrected as sharply as Walmart has, even though you can make the case for Target. But Walmart, in my opinion, has really lagged the overall market. I mean, it's had a sharp correction from 152.5 and then came all the way down to around 140 support and has bounced off of that, is holding that area really nicely. So I would imagine that the next time we get earnings from Walmart, that we should see some really strong numbers from them, especially as we head into the holiday season. In my opinion, I think this is going to be a great one to watch for this month.
You know what? I've had my eye on Walmart. I'm glad you brought it up. It's been slightly red on the year, so certainly lagged, but I mean, big time. So there's huge opportunity. I also feel like I have heard some more positive sentiment from analysts as well. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any price target increase, if there's any increased sentiment. But they're making the right moves. I like this call, and I do think it's only a matter of time before it catches up to the overall market.
Yeah, let's not forget, we're seeing insane numbers from just retail spending in general. I mean, consumers are spending money out the wazoo. So I think that Walmart's definitely a good one to grab. My next one is going to be FedEx. Now, FedEx has been in a bit of trouble over the last quarter, and it hasn't been to any fault of FedEx. The real big problem here has been, finding workers, keeping up with demand. That's been the real big issue, and it's an industry-wide issue. We just got done talking about spending. Americans, the demand here to go out and spend money is insane. And FedEx is having a really hard time keeping up with that, especially as we're seeing increased traffic through e-commerce and that sort of thing. Obviously, we've seen some issues from the ports when it comes to Nike's earnings. They said that there were some issues with that. So not really a surprise to see FedEx struggling here a little bit as far as that's concerned. But I think that we saw a huge overreaction from FedEx earnings, even though they didn't give a great outlook. I think, in my opinion, it's a little bit more of a sandbagging on FedEx's part. I think they're being too conservative. And I really like this play. I think that there is some opportunity to maybe just sit here and watch to see if it actually returns to its $220 support. It's far below the 200-day. It's far below the 50-day moving averages. RSI is just insane. It's sitting at 18 on RSI on the daily chart. So it's a joke with it being traded down here. I think that it's extremely oversold. And the opportunity here to grab some FedEx on this very sharp correction might be worth it.
Yeah, FedEx is an interesting situation because I think it's one of those situations where you just have to be patient. And if you're patient, it'll work out for you. Maybe a little bit more choppiness. It could even be sideways for a while.
Yeah.
But when it comes back, it's going to come back with a vengeance, I would say. Just from a fundamental perspective, I was looking at FedEx compared to UPS. FedEx PE is at 12, whereas UPS is at 28. So if that doesn't tell you anything about where it sits, I mean, man, it could certainly go lower, but an entry here seems to make sense, especially perfect for like a long-term investment account.
Yeah, I mean, just taking advantage of some of the overreaction that we saw, I think, is really what's going to pay off, even in the short term.
Yeah.
The next one here is what we talked about earlier in the show was, Marathon Oil. Oil has been going absolutely crazy. We talked about demand. Travel demand is going to be wild going into the holiday season. I mean, over the last 2 Christmases, there was limited travel because with visiting family and stuff like that. Obviously, with COVID, things seem to be subsiding with that somewhat. The fears over COVID have dropped considerably. The Thanksgiving holiday as well. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of travel. So oil's going to go up. Demand's going crazy. And so I think that Marathon Oil certainly looks to be one that could certainly benefit from a huge oil rise in price.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we're seeing wild movement as far as price per barrel is concerned. So we look at the chart. It's just moved over the 50-day moving average a few days ago. I think that the momentum's certainly here. The last time it was over that, that sustained over that was back in July. So I think that the correction here is over, and I think it's only up for here as far as marathons.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I have Marathon Oil, and I'd love for it to continue to go up. It was beaten down. I'm slightly red in it, but I do have high conviction in it. I think we're on the same page with that. Before we get into the next one, or the next 2 stocks, actually, I want to invite you guys to the Chaos Crew. If you guys click the join button next to the chat, it'll give you access not only to our daily watch list, it'll give you technical analysis, access to Brad's portfolio, and more importantly, our community. Our community is one of a kind. We have a Discord where we're in all day while the market's open, even other times. So, guys, make sure you click that join if you're interested to join the Chaos Crew for $4.99. What do we got in number 4?
So for the next one's going to be Goldman Sachs. Now, this is going to be one to watch. It's up over 50% on the year, but from a PE standpoint, it's still pretty low. And then when we look at what's going on in the dynamic of the economy, we just heard from the Fed saying that they're going to start tapering at the end of the year, and they were going to actually be done tapering by the middle of the summer, which is pretty quick as far as the Fed's concerned. So they're speeding up the timeline slightly. Nothing too crazy or nothing to be concerned about as far as I'm concerned, but I like to say concerned a lot, just to put it out there. But, this means that rates are probably going to raise once tapering's done. And I think that Goldman Sachs, the financial industry in general, has a lot of room to continue to roll. I mean, we've just started to see the 10-year yield also go up too. This all benefits the banks in general. And Goldman Sachs is best in class. I think that this is definitely one to grab. If we look at the chart, even though it's high price, I know some of you guys who are watching are like, oh my gosh, it's $390 a share. I think this has the ability to go up another 50% from here, Fat Man Zoom, between now and, leading into the summer. So it's one to watch for October, but it's also one to watch for going into 2022. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because we're going to be going over the top stocks for January 2022. This might show up on there.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs, you look at the overall industry and you see the buybacks, you see the dividends, and Goldman Sachs right in line. I mean, they raised their dividend. It shows to the sentiment of the company and the financial position they're in. So by all accounts, it looks like it's very strong. Don't forget about the stress test. That was sort of the government's way of ensuring that these banks were able to withstand any sort of economic downturn or turmoil. They passed it with flying colors. You should feel confident about most banks, but like you said, Goldman Sachs best in class, and they're not resting on their laurels. They're actually trying to get into new segments. So that's really promising for Goldman Sachs and what they have going on.
Yeah, and if you look at the 50-day moving average, it's sitting right at that. So I think that if it breaks back up over that, it's got plenty of momentum behind it to continue to go for the month of October.
Yeah, before we get into the last stock, Brad, why don't you tell them about the free daily watch list?
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in getting a watch list from us every single day for free, it doesn't cost you anything, but you have some trouble finding stocks that maybe you wouldn't have found if we hadn't provided them for you. So it's absolutely free. Go check it out. We'd love to have you guys as a part of the crew over at ownthechaos.com. So click the link in the description. We'd love to have you guys over there.
All right. So now we have the final stock, guys. Give us that thumbs up for this last stock. But Brad, what do we have as your last stock for October?
So the last stock that I have for October is one that I have placed a huge bet on. I have calls out the ass on this one, and it is Ford. I think that Ford is going to be something that we see have a really nice comeback leading into the end of the year. Demand for new vehicles has not slowed down in the least, and they are starting to make efforts and working towards rectifying this chip shortage issue that's wreaked havoc across the industry. Ford has done a really good job at this, and they're still selling cars like crazy. They've obviously addressed some of the issues, but not only that, Fat Man Zoom, but I think that also Ford has the ability to probably compete with Tesla on the EV side of things. I'm not saying that they're going to overtake them, but I think if there's a second, third place, I think that Ford certainly could be in that top three as far as EV production is concerned and sales. We've already seen some phenomenal sales as far as the Mach-E is concerned all this year. So I think that this definitely has the potential to continue to roll. One big reason why I have it on the watch list for October is because this has come over a crucial area. It's already breaking over its downward trend that it's been making since June. We go back to June 4th, and we've seen this downtrend all summer long. And I think that this move here up over the 50-day moving average could be a pivotal point for Ford. And I think we could see a nice run going into the end of the year.
I love it, guys. There you have it. The top 5 stocks for October of 2021. Let us know what you guys think of these stocks. More importantly, put in the comments if there's a particular stock you're looking at or that you like for October. We'd love to hear from you. As always, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell. We are live every Tuesday through Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Stock Watch Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Brad, anything else?
That's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks so much. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you later.
Bye.